John, I
was there.
As he should.
Did you, it looked like a land commission. I remember voting on them. I think they already met. Which is fine.
John,
Yesterday we went to a Brazilian restaurant where they cut this big.
We went there when I was there.
It's really good.
I was stupid when I went. You know, they did the salad. I did the salad. You know, I love salad. I had all the salad. And now you guys start calling it meat.
Yes, I made sure I ate it.
We paid for
Because it was $70.
I was sitting there waiting for
And Clark won't eat meat, so she
I'm not either. We went to.
He's not going.
That salad bar was phenomenal.
Well, I say let him lay.
salmon to all sorts of roasted.
You go ahead and talk to her. I'm not going
Look at it.
Yeah, they had that little coaster. So
I think it's an opportunity, but
Hey, I stand with you too. But I don't think that we need to do these people that cleaned it up. It's already.
I mean,
It's a missed opportunity for public relations to hear from them. But I think.
Hey, the impact you did for Kent is worth
So call the little girl back and say, we resolved. Why do we have to
I
get
knew
on
I
TV?
couldn't walk it.
I'll tell you, I walk every day, but I have a perfect.
Well, let him come find out. You call him and tell him it's resolved.
So you took the tram and the grandson, are you in your station? But that's the important
There was
part.
one night where I really realized it.
And you-
I went back to the office, put it in, brought it before anybody, and I seen her car.
do have to do that today.
Okay, it's 7:30. I'm going to call to order the regular council meeting of June the 15th, 2022. Would the clerk please read the roll?
Mr. Amrine?
Here.
Mr. De Leon?
Here.
Mr. Ferrara?
Here.
Mr. Kuhar?
Here.
Ms. Rosenberg? Here. Ms. Schaefer-Bish? Here. Mr. Sidoti?
Here.
Mr. Turner?
Here.
And Ms. Welk? Here.
Okay, we need opening remarks from Ms. Schaefer-Bish.
right, well, I just want to say that it seems like summer. Everybody try to keep as cool as you can, and when it gets a little cooler outside, go and enjoy the live music and all the great things that are happening in downtown Kent. So with that, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We have some recognition, Fire Chief and Police Chief, I believe.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is an exciting time as a fire chief. I get to talk about some of my guys and talk about some great community members that we have within our boundaries here. So this is a great evening. So I want to start off with having these guys come up here. May I have, let's see here, Darren Beatty, could you come up here and where could we stand here? Probably right up here. Yes, let's maybe have Mr. Beatty, and if I may have Firefighter Simpkins and Firefighter Bright, please. McNulty, that's right. Okay, and Officer McNulty. Sorry, I know her Samantha, and I didn't want to call her by her first name. So thanks everyone for being here. So on April 23rd, we responded to a swift water incident involving a 2-year-old and her mother. We asked to see if they were able to be present this evening, and we were offered them a ride and so forth, but it just didn't work out for them. So while her and her child were basically down by River Edge Park, the daughter fell into the Kaga River, right where the water moves very swiftly. The mother shouted for help as she jumped in after her daughter. The mother was able to grab her daughter and hold on until more shallow water was present. A kayaker, Darren Beatty, he was out of the water with his kayak and heard the shouts and the screams and immediately returned to the water and went right to her. This is where he paddled out and found Ms. Moorhead doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on her daughter. Recognizing the danger of the swift water, Mr. Beatty was able to move them to the island just beyond the falls there. 2 police officers, Officer McNulty and Officer Moore, both essentially took their gear off and jumped in the water to get over to the river that would be on the east side there. So as he was able to get them to a safer location on the island, our firefighters then arrived on the scene, and immediately we had 2 rescue swimmers do a go rescue. And this way, when they got out to the island there, they were able to evaluate the child and then just take over medical care from there. So we have 2 of those present today. That's Firefighter Simpkins and Firefighter Bright. So when they found that the child was showing signs of aspirated a lot of water and was semi-responsive, an expedient removal was necessary. We had an inflatable watercraft that was deployed and arrived on the scene when the rescue swimmers went out to the island. The inflatable motorcraft was immediately dispatched as it entered the water, and Ms. Moorhead and her child were removed to safely from the island and then back on shore to where a waiting ambulance took her to the hospital and the child. So basically, what I'd like to do is to recognize those actions of Mr. Darren Beatty and how he acted quickly and without hesitation. And it certainly could have been a different set of circumstances had he not been there. So we're certainly grateful to him and what he did. And then, of course, I've already mentioned our 2 firefighters. Again, these guys, they recently went through a water rescue class. It was designed for swift water. So we had instructors come from Colorado to teach this through International Dive Rescue. And this was about 2 weeks prior to this incident. So it was, we're grateful we had that training, as well as these guys have been trained for years, and they continue to do a great job, and they're constantly honing their skills, constantly going over things. So I'm very proud of them, and very proud of what they did that day. So thank you, guys.
The last person up here is Officer McNulty. I want to take the time to recognize her. One of the things that Chief Myers pointed out is that the training and the continued training that these firefighters have had. About the most training that our police officers have had is seeing the stories, and we've had a little bit of training from the fire department about how dangerous that river is when the water's moving as swiftly as it was that day. So I think it goes without saying that Sam, taking her gear off, jumping in that river, knowing the danger that it presented to her to get to that island to help out, putting others' lives before hers is obviously a heroic action, and I want to commend her for that. So.
Yeah, we should go students at least.
They deserve it. They deserve it for sure.
Make like your friends.
Is that police fire?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is for All right, with that said, I think the health commissioner and the fire chief has another introduction.
Here we go.
I want to thank you for allowing us this time tonight to come before you. And while COVID continues to be a concern and we continue to work on that, we are continually broadening our range of services and programs that we're providing. So tonight I wanted to introduce 2 health department employees who are instrumental in these efforts. Jaleesa? Jaleesa Caples is our accreditation specialist, and I will let her briefly summarize some of the great work that she is doing for our department.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you, City Council. So hi, I'm Jaleesa Caples. I'm the accreditation coordinator, and I'm just going to give you a brief update. So currently we're gearing up for our first annual FAB report, and we're planning for our 5-year reaccreditation cycle. We are also preparing for our 2023 ODH tobacco grant, which has an award total of $132,000, and we plan to partner with Portage County Health District on that grant as well. We are looking to also participate in an ODH grant called the Capacity Building for Healthy Eating and Active Living, or HEAL grant, which has an award of $10,000, and this grant will help with community outreach efforts as well. We are also looking into Americorps Vista grants at this time. This way we can fund more high caliber intern programs at no extra cost to the city or the health department. We have also established a new collaborative partnership with Access Point Community Health Center by supporting their community health worker development grant efforts. With these grant efforts, in this partnership, we will be able to get a community health worker at the health department at no expense to us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So We're continuing to connect and partner more and more because we really want to make sure that we can serve our community and make sure that their health is optimal. Sarah Slanina is an RN EMT who was hired under the Centers for Disease Control Workforce Development Grant. The Kent City Health Department is collaborating with Kent Fire on this position, which allows the health department to have a part-time nurse, so somebody who can back me up, as well as the Kent Fire Department to start a paramedicine program. So I'm going to allow Sarah and Chief Myers to come up and say a few words. Ladies first.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm working with both the health department and the fire department on expanding the services offered to the residents of Kent. We're working on starting a fall prevention program. Mostly the elderly getting in their houses, seeing what they need to prevent accidents from happening. Also looking at frequent users of our fire department and how I can help them get the preventative medicine that they need, and also to prevent readmissions to the hospital. And we're also going to expand the types of vaccines we offer at the health department. So,
Yeah, good.
All right.
Welcome home.
Yeah, welcome.
Now, a few of the things that Sarah didn't mention was that she brings experience from UH Portage as a registered nurse in their ER, Akron Children's Hospital, and also, most recently, as a nurse at Akron Children's Hospital in their emergency room. She's also a firefighter paramedic, has spent time in Brimfield and Suffield fire departments as well. So we're really excited to have her just because of the fact that she's going to help us with people who use 911 multiple times, because sometimes taking them over the hospital just isn't the right answer for them. And we want to connect them up with other services and see what we can provide and help them out to help things out for them in their personal lives. We're going to be looking at behavioral and psychological issues and overdoses, as well as helping people with dementia, Alzheimer's, hospice-related types of things. Sarah just went through a car seat installation class. So there's another thing that we get many phone calls here at the station. They're asking, hey, do you have somebody that does car seat installations? And so now we do. And so that's a great service that we're going to be able to provide. And it's one of those things where we really want to prevent those readmissions to the hospital. We want to make sure that people have the support system that they need. And we're not there to be there long term. We just want to help them get on their feet, get them connected with some social other programs and stuff, and that way that they can then proceed on with their healing. And a lot of things that Sarah will be doing is she'll be mentoring a lot of different types of things where people may have questions about wound care, shots, dietary needs, exercise, use of crutches, and so forth in the home. A lot of people may not know exactly how to traverse those things and how to do those types of things. So Sarah's going to be a great resource for them and help them to where they can get back on their feet, stay in their home, and have good things happen. We're looking forward to Sarah helping out at community festivals, senior citizen gatherings, at the schools, and wherever she can fit in to provide some education or help, anything like that. And we're looking for our community partners with Kent State University, our Kent Social Services, Town Hall 2, Job and Family Services. So there's a lot of people that we're going to get connected with, have already. We've spent some time doing that. And so it's been a great thing. Sarah's a great fit for us, and really excited about this program. And I have to say thank you to Joan Seidel for helping me out and getting her, because that 16 hours isn't much per week. However, it's a start, and it's a great opportunity for all of us. So thank you very much.
I just want to say, with our interns and other staff, we're preparing to reach out to Kent residents to get their valued input on what programs they feel are a top priority for their health and well-being. This campaign is called Kent City Health Department Working for You, and it has 3 branches, which are listening, connecting, and serving. All programs will be focused on outcomes, so you'll definitely be hearing more from us throughout the summer, but something that you can start sharing with your constituents that we're looking forward to. And I think Sarah would like to introduce her family to you, too. So.
My oldest, my 16-year-old's away at summer camp. I have Dana. My 8-year-old. Will you say hi?
Thank you. All right, thank you. Welcome aboard. All right, we'll move on to communication, public communication. Did anybody sign in tonight?
Nope. Do you
How
want
about
to approve the
minutes
minutes?
first?
I move to approve the minutes.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry, Heidi. You want to approve the minutes?
Yes, I would.
I'll second.
Second by who? Mike? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, now we'll move down to written communications.
All right. The Planning Commission agenda and staff report for June 7th, 2022 was received on May 31st, 2022. An email from Mr. John Kuhar was received and forwarded to Council on May 31st in regards to a resident's request to have a tree removed from a tree lawn, stating something should be done. Notification that the June 7th, 2022 Architecture Review Board meeting was canceled due to no agenda items was received June 1st. The draft Portage County Vision Plan was received and forwarded to Council on June 3rd. The Standing Rock Cemetery Board of Trustees agenda for June 9th and the April and May meeting minutes were received on June the 6th. And then communication received after the agenda was published, received the Parks and Recreation Board packet for June 16th. That was received on June the 10th. Board of Zoning Appeals agenda and staff report for June 20th was received on June 10th. The Board of Health agenda for June 14th was received on June 13th, 2022. The Planning Commission and staff report for the June 21st, 2022 meeting was received on June 14th. And finally, the liquor license, a new request was received June the 9th, 2022 for R&R Beer and Tobacco Junction, LLC, located at 1610 South Water Street in Kent, and Chief Scheer had no objections.
Move to return the objections.
Second. Second by Garrett. Any discussion on it? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. That's it, Amy?
That's it.
All right, city manager's report. Mr. Rower's going to speak to
Yeah,
that tonight.
so the written communication that's not in front of you tonight, I had a, I don't know. I had a moment. I can't. The mayor was quick to point out my lapse, and my only defense is I think it's the only time I've done it in 17 years. So I promise I won't. I didn't print it. I think I did start it, but somehow I lost track of my days this week. I am sorry, but really all I really need is your authorization on the two items that was listed on your memo that you're here to approve in your routine business tonight. Draft number 2022-067 is a health grant funding that Joan has asked for council's authorization, except $1,800. You'll have that come before you as unauthorized, and hopefully you'll authorize it by approving that. And then the second one was a Melanie item. It's the Nopec Energized Community Grant. That'll be draft 22069 tonight on your agenda. And that's for funding that we get from Nopec to use for various energy-related projects. And that basically secures it for us, and then Melanie will figure out where to best fit that money. So again, I apologize for not having that. I don't know what day it is. I don't know.
Okay, can I have a motion for those two items with the emergency clause?
So moved.
Jack
Okay,
moved
second.
it. Gwen seconded it. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Is there further, Mr. Rohr?
No, that's it.
We
Thank
always
you.
can work things out, can't we?
Thank you.
This means you're getting older.
I can't blame it on COVID, and I didn't get COVID, so I can't say it's that COVID fog.
Blame the heat. Blame the heat.
All right, we're going to move into standing committee report. First one's the committee of the whole. We need a motion to approve the minutes of June 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we need to vote on some boards and commissions recommendations. Does somebody have motions to?
I move. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I move to appoint each of the 5 members. Do you need me to say their names for the record for the flag committee?
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
Okay.
Or we'll have Amy say them.
Second.
I can say it. Kenny Crookstead, Zach Garster, Valerie Landis, Mario Morales, and Jonathan Riniger.
That's for the flag committee, resign committee.
Second.
John, you seconded?
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We got one more for the party board.
Yeah, I'd like to move, Mr. Mayor, Stacy Wilson for the Portage County Regional Transit Authority Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Garrett. Any discussion? All in favor
Jerry, I
signify.
have something really
What?
quick. I just want to extend a tremendous thank you to the people that applied to serve on our boards and commissions. It's very, very important. It means that the community is having a voice in what their local government does. So I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who applied.
They'll all get a letter.
What's it?
They'll all get a letter. I signed them today.
Well, I wanted to thank them also on behalf
All right.
of council.
All in favor of the party board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
One abstention. All right, thank you. Now I need a vote to authorize the names in the legislations.
So moved.
Second.
Second by John. Any questions? Discussion? None? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-57 in title only with the names?
Draft number 2022-057, a resolution appointing Kenny Crookston, Zach Garster, Valerie Landis, Mario Morales, and Jonathan Reidinger to the City Flag Redesign Committee and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by John. Please read roll for suspension.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kuhar. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner and Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 2022-057 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-58 in title only?
Draft number 2022-058, a resolution appointing Stacy Wilson to the Portage Area Regional Transit Authority Board and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner? Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes. Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? None? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Abstain.
Resolution 2022-058 has passed.
Okay, thank you. That's all for committee of the whole, community development. Mr. Kuhar?
Okay, I would like to adopt the committee meeting minutes approval of June 1st and the one action.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, we got one draft. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-59 in title only?
Draft 2022-059, an ordinance authorizing the transfer of a Trex liquor license into the City of Kent by the Aces Enterprise LLC, an Ohio limited liability company, conditioned upon the execution of a development agreement between the City of Kent, Ohio, and Aces Enterprise LLC, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll for suspension.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by John. Is there any discussion on adopting this?
Yeah.
Yeah, John?
Where is this location exactly?
Kent Hotel.
Yeah, you remember the guy that came, the old deck,
Oh, okay.
your generation.
Yeah.
Mine too, John.
I don't remember. What's
Probably
the-
after his generation.
And there was another one coming in at 1600 something Water Street. I was getting too confused.
All right. Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. DeLeo?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-059 is passed.
Okay, that's it for community development. Land use, Mr. Ferrer.
Yep, I'd move to approval of the committee meeting on June 1st, the minutes of the June 1st meeting, as well as the action recommended.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on any of this? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-60 entitled only?
Draft 2022-060, an ordinance amending the city zoning districts mapped for parcel number 12-049-00-012-000, 6700 State Route 43, to be rezoned to IR Industrial Research and Office Zoning District effective. The date of the amendment shall be upon the Portage County acceptance of the annexation and municipal boundary change and declaring an emergency.
Go ahead.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by John. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
And Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-061 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-61 entitled only?
Draft number 2022-061, an ordinance amending the city's zoning districts map for parcel number 17-042-00, -00-001-000, 6662 State Route 43, to be rezoned from R1 Low Density Residential Zoning District to IR Industrial Research and Office Zoning District and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish.
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Mr. Turner. Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Garrett. Any discussion on this? Please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish. Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-061 is passed.
Okay, that's it for land use. Moving to the Finance Committee, Mr. DeLeon.
I will move the meeting minutes from June 1st. Does anybody want
Second.
these
Second by
separate?
Roger.
Okay.
Are you done, Mike?
I was going to say, does anybody want these
I'm sorry.
6 recommendations separated? If not, I'll move those also.
I'll second those also.
All right. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-62 entitled only?
Draft 2022-062, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the State Route 59 Alternative Transportation Improvement Agreement between the City of Kent, Parda, and Franklin Township to pursue funding for active transportation improvements on State Route 59 and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish.
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti.
Yes.
Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Ms. Wallach.
Yes.
Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Mr. DeLeon.
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar.
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance?
Jerry, I've got something.
Pardon? Go ahead.
I just want to say that I'm excited about this. This is one of those things that on paper it looks kind of dull, but I think that it can have meaningful change and improve people's lives. Although in some small way, transportation is important, and I'm very pleased that Mr. Bowling pursued this. I think this can have meaningful change, like I said, so thank you very much.
Anybody else? Mr. Kuhar?
Yeah, this is an area that definitely needs improvement. I live in that area, and between the people walking in the middle of the street and the middle of the, in between where there's no crosswalks, it could definitely look to be improved.
Anybody else? Please call the roll for adoption.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-062 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Will the clerk read draft number 2022-63 in title only?
Draft 2022-063, an ordinance authorizing the City of Kent to submit 2 funding applications totaling $947,000 and to execute the subsequent agreements with the Ohio Public Works Commission, OPWC, and to accept the grants if awarded with corresponding appropriation of funds and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Who seconded it? Oh, Gwen? Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
And Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes. Move adoption.
Second.
Who seconded it? Mike? Okay.
Gwen.
All right, he called it. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Sidoti? Mr. Sidoti?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-063 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-64 in title only?
Draft 2022-064, an ordinance authorizing the City of Kent to cover the increase in cost of the fireworks display for the annual Kent Heritage Festival to the Kent Area Chamber of Commerce for the years 2022, 2023, and 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Garrett. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
And Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Move
Move
adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
And Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-064 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read 2022-65 in title only?
Draft 2022-065, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept grant funding in the amount of $4,807.24 through the Ohio Law Enforcement Body Armor Program, grant program, for the purchase of expiring body armor and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Gwen?
It was
Is
a
that Gwen?
tie between
Tie.
Mike and
Guys, all right. Please call the roll on suspension.
Get the next one.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Roger. Any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2022-065 has passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-66 in title only?
Draft 2022-066, an ordinance accepting a donation of a K-9 ballistic vest from Brady's K-9 Fund to the City of Kent's Police Department, valued at $1,500, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer-Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
And Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Sorry, and Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Thank you.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Rogers. Any discussion on adopting this? See none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
And Mr. Amrine.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-066 is passed.
Thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-67 in title only?
Draft 2022-067, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to accept grant funding in the amount of $1,841.05 from the Ohio Department of Health's Fluoridation Assistance Program, ODOH, to replace 2 pumps and declaring an emergency.
Suspension?
Second.
Second by Mike. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yeah.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Is there any discussion on adopting this ordinance? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yeah.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
And Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-067 is passed.
Thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-68 in title only?
Draft 2022-068, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2021-133, the current appropriation ordinance passed December 15th, 2021, so as to adjust appropriations, transfers, and advances from the various funds of the City of Kent to individual accounts for the current expenses of the city for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach? Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Rogers. Any discussion on adopting this? Seeing none, please call the roll for adoption.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-068 is passed.
Okay, thank you. Would the clerk read draft number 2022-69 in title only?
Draft 2022-069, an ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute a new Energized community grant agreement with Nopec to secure grant funds that are available to the city to use for energy savings related investments and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension.
Second.
Second by Gwen. Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Move adoption.
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion on adopting this ordinance? Any? Please call the roll on adoption.
Ms. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer Bish?
Yes.
Mr. Sidoti?
Yes.
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Wallach?
Yes.
Mr. Amrine?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrara?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhar?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-069 is passed.
Okay, thank you. That's it for Finance Committee. Is there any unfinished business? New business? Tracy?
I don't know if this should, you want to talk about it?
No.
Yeah, Mike and I just found out that the flag committee already met with 4 people. What is the protocol for that? I mean, they haven't been appointed yet, and they already have 6 flag designs? Is there 6?
Something like that.
Well, they, I don't know.
If they weren't appointed, they weren't meeting as a flag committee.
Okay.
Maybe they were just meeting to greet each other or something, but no, no, if they meet after tonight, yes, there'll be a problem.
They had no business meeting if they were.
Yeah.
Mike?
So,
Oh, excuse me. Go,
no,
Tracy.
yeah, I was going to say, what kind of protocol do we have for this group? Do we need to take minutes? Do we have to post that they're going to
Yeah.
be meeting?
Yes.
Regular public meeting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You have
That's
to,
Christmas.
Because I think
you have to post the meetings, and you're gonna have to take minutes. Just
and
like,
then we hand the minutes to us, right? I mean, to the council.
We can,
Van,
yes.
yeah.
well, you two as chairman better set the guidelines down, I guess.
I guess we're co-chair. All right, we better get in touch with them. Yeah, I was surprised to find that out. It's like,
Please,
I can send you their contact information.
please do.
Okay.
Yes.
I got it. Mike was
No,
next.
that's all.
All
I
right.
was just sort of
Robin?
piggybacking on her.
How did that come to you?
I got a text. Did you get a text?
I got a text.
Yeah, I did too.
I got more than one text, but yes, you did too? Yes.
I will have Amy send me the information along with you two, and I'll be the bad guy and say
You
you
can contact
cannot
them?
meet
Yeah,
until.
let them know.
Somebody's overreacting.
Yes.
You cannot meet until.
I'll give you 5 guesses.
I don't have a phone. Yeah, why would you get the text? Why didn't Mike get a text?
If you're, because
like
they
it.
used our cell phones for my contact list, so I think your number is your landline, right? No? I don't know.
Guess is your first meeting ought to be an organization meeting to
Yeah.
explain the
Yeah.
guidelines of what's gonna happen.
Did you get a text?
I did.
Okay,
I got more than one?
that's all.
Roger?
Oh,
Roger?
I
Oh,
know this from a court case. We have to post at Overholt, so if you email me the agenda, I'll make sure it gets up.
Okay.
oh,
So we
Thank-
need,
thank you,
so let
Bridget.
me get this straight. First of all, we need an agenda for the meeting. We need to take minutes, and we need to post that the meeting is going to take place. How many days in advance?
At least 24 hours.
24 hours in advance. And you're going to contact them, Hope?
I'm sorry?
You're going to contact these people and let them know that they've got to do this stuff?
Yes.
And that, as, I guess we're self-appointed chairman, huh? We're supposed to be the chairman? We
no,
decide
really,
when
at the
and
first meeting, you can do that.
when and where the meetings are, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an organizational meeting. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's an organizational meeting. So we'll get that started.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Where are we? Roger?
yeah, first of all, Melanie, I gotta believe you're absolutely excited about what's going on at the corner down here with I was walking.
No idea.
Yeah, no, I do, and I know that you have so much on your plate. Is there a way we could be updated a little bit? I mean, I can kind of explain to people who ask me what's going on. I mean, I see concrete being poured, and I get giddy, and I think it's great. But is there a way we could get maybe just like 3 or 4 points every so often of what's going on, so that we can share with people in the community who ask us, you know?
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, Roger. We're gonna, the first meeting in July, we're gonna have
Oh,
Melanie
great.
kind of give a short overview. We've asked for periodic
Right.
updates on it, and I guess this ought to be one of them.
Well, I was winging it with some of our community members, because I saw pipes in the ground, I saw the concrete. It would have been nice to be a little more technical about what's going on if we could. That'd be great. Oh, good, we have an over. Well, thank you. I just thought that, but I don't know, I think it's exciting. You gotta be excited. I mean, yeah, nice to see ground being broke. Anyway, that's all I had, Mr. Mayor. This is new business, this is comments.
I know. Is that all the new business in the comments?
I
have a comment.
Oh.
I have a comment, so.
We'll go ladies
Go ahead,
first.
yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, my comment is this. First of all, I want to say how proud I am to live in the Kent community, where we are actually addressing issues that are relevant in the 21st century and now. We all received the draft Portage County Vision Plan. It is a draft, so it's not a done deal yet. And I did not study it really super carefully, but I looked to see and I read it just to see what the contents were, and there are some very big gaps. One of those gaps is any mention of climate change. And, you know, that is one of the biggest issues facing us. And any plan for a county has to consider, you know, what we're going to do about it. You know, we are, as a city, we're doing something. And we are doing many things, and we are continuing to move forward on our planning to confront. It's something that we have talked about quite a lot. And secondly, there was no real issue about diversity and celebrating diversity and encouraging more diversity and encouraging people from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, to really come together. The only thing I remember seeing was something pertaining to, for climate change, preservation of farmland, which could have been in a plan decades ago. So, you know, the social justice issues associated with diversity and the economic and environmental issues associated with climate change were starkly missing, and I hope that they can have some more conversations about that. And we are in Portage County, and I would hope that our neighbors would think that these are very important issues as well to address. The rest of the plan I thought was well done and has a lot of merit to it. So I just wanted to say that before it is a done deal.
Did you direct some input back to him?
I did.
Okay.
And I actually even, I talked with him a little bit too. I encountered him in another setting and we discussed.
Okay.
He thanked me.
Jack has his hand up then, John.
Yeah, thanks to the mayor's bad knees, I was able to take a whirlwind trip to Washington, D.C. with Mr. Bowling and members of PARTA, AMATS, and Kent State University to ask for a RAISE grant. We talked to the Department of Transportation and we talked to our federal legislators, and it went very well. But what I want to tell you is we should be thankful that Jim Bowling is our engineer, because what an impressive job he did. And I'm very proud to be a council member, to have you sitting there, and you were top notch. So thank you.
John.
Well, as Heidi said, we're a city that addresses issues, and a few weeks ago, Kent State broke for their summer break and things got quiet around here, except in our neighborhood. We now have an extra 8 stray cats running loose, just as we do every time school breaks. These are not, I would not call them feral cats. There's one mean one in there, but these are cats that have joined the population, don't know how to take care of themselves, and have to live with the overpopulated raccoon population, groundhog and possum population. And the problem doesn't get smaller. Now, we have a little extra money, so we've trapped probably 40 cats in the last 5 years and had them fixed and Rose's Rescue, and adopted them out. But I don't know, this problem ain't going to go away no matter how much we ignore it.
Very good. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Turner?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know about the Portage County.
We sent it out.
I didn't see it.
Right?
It's on me.
I had Amy send it out to you guys.
Oh, you haven't sent it out?
I have Amy send it out to you.
That's on me.
You need a hard copy? We can do that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. But going on what you indicated, based on how it's formulated and how it's weighted, how do you think, do we respond as a political subdivision? Should we be making a statement as a body that indicates these are our concerns, and we're looking at how the issues that we feel as a city, they're going to triage it or prioritize it, how that's done, and how we react and respond. I would kind of like to give some guidance, or get some guidance as to how we are supposed to do that, especially since it's already that they've concluded something. But I think the weight of us as a community, as a body of governance, should actually affect, as the largest community, ought to kind of affect exactly when they're establishing the agenda for the future of the county. We ought to have some input, and it ought to be weighted.
Mr. Mayor?
Barbara, and just suggest, like Heidi did, after you read it, maybe you ought to express your concerns back to them. And if we need to do something as a whole, then we probably could do something as a whole.
Do we ratify this?
So, unless I'm mistaken, we're not members of even though we're in the county.
Correct.
This is done through Todd Peets.
Right.
Peets, right? That's his last name. And that's through that regional county planning commission, whatever that title is. And we have chosen not to be part of that because we have our own planning commission. So I don't know if we need a formal response. I think what Heidi did works perfectly well.
And we did have a staff member from community development go there, and they did talk about it being more of a global concept, and most of the input was from Regional Planning Commission members, and the city has not been one for close to 20 years. So I do think that I would encourage you to bring those to the fore. Todd is, once you made him aware, I'm sure he realized the need for it. So I would think if everyone contacted Regional Planning and let them know their interest, they would probably be addressing it at some level in the plan.
So you,
You got the floor, Robin.
okay. So the feeling is, I don't know, I always thought, I get it. I didn't understand the protocol. My feeling still has to be that by waiting it and getting an impression of the values that we place on as a community, even though we're not a member, I guess. I don't kind of get that, but even though we're not, we still represent a sizable portion of the community. Our value system ought to be impressed on. It's just me. I mean, I could do it as an individual. I don't think it's going to carry as much weight as, I don't even know if we can do it as a body or how appropriate it is. I'm going to take a lead from you on that. I'm just throwing it out because I think that the city of Kent could make a statement about that we always do. If it's going to the state, we put out a resolution about our concerns on how individuals are treated or their value system as opposed to ours. We need to make a statement as a body. But that's Robin.
Robin, when you get the hard copy, read it, then let's get together, see what we can and can't do. The county sometimes just doesn't take us into consideration. I hate to put it that way, but I'm putting it that way.
I think we're not members, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's like, I think, you know, weighing in as individuals, being asked to
I
come look
think
at something, I think it was a professional courtesy that I really appreciate from the county.
Yeah, Heidi did the right thing, and Robin, you ought to do the same concern. Is there further? We're done with comments? I guess we're done with the mayor's report. You know, the activities are coming about downtown Kent. I don't know, Girl Good this last weekend I didn't think was very, had that many people down there, and I think it's just getting back into the groove. But they made some money, but we're looking now to Heritage Festival, and you know, any of you guys want to get in on any of these committees to help these people? I know Heidi's been down there. You know, feel free to volunteer because it's they're getting back into the groove and they need the help, and we're going to try and get people back together downtown Kent. It's amazing to me that even Weiner Art or in the beer thing, we're so crowded on Water Street, but you went down on Franklin Avenue, you couldn't find a picnic table to sit at. So I mean, Franklin Avenue was just as busy as ever. I mean, you can't get another seat down there because you have to wait. And we have actually activities going on Water Street. It's phenomenal. So that's all I have. We have nothing. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jerry, are we going to have a city table at the Heritage Festival?
I'll call, if you want one, call Michelle Hartman.
What?
Jones
We
going to have one.
should have something with our